every relationship needs this and no one does it. What are we talking about? It's called the love
meeting.
Yeah, cool. I was waiting for you to say something. Like, how many men are going to listen to this and go, love meeting? That's stupid. Johnny
Yeah.
Walker, one of our clients, he's like, I think you should change the name of love meeting. It sounds silly. I'm like, thanks, mate. But it stands out, right? It stands out. Like, when you have a meeting for love. And as a business owner myself, one of the biggest challenges in my life has been my relationship. And despite all the hard work that I do, despite the money that I make and providing for my family, and so my wife doesn't have to work, she can be a full-time mom and do what she wants to do. There have been so many times where I've lacked appreciation, lacked respect, lacked desire, and I haven't got those things that I want from her, which means I don't feel loved. Do you know what's funny though? She didn't feel those things either.
Yeah.
She felt like I didn't understand her. I didn't appreciate her. That's another one, understanding, that I haven't put in here. So this love meeting framework that we're going to go through, it's really about reconnecting with your partner on a deeper level and having regular check-ins. In your relationship, if you don't have check-ins, you're fucked. Think about it. Like, when you're trying to lose weight, if you don't check your weight, how do you know if you're making progress? If you're trying to lose weight, if you're not tracking your calories and macros, how do you know if you're making progress? If you never check your bank account and just hope to make lots of money, how are you going to succeed if you don't check your progress? It's the exact same in relationships. We must create time to meet and connect once a week and to ask powerful questions of one another. And if you don't do that, you will drift apart. That's what causes divorce, separation, and basically breakdown. So, Sam, we teach the love meeting and the empowered man, but most men don't do this. Why do you think that is? Why do you think men do not make time to meet with their wife? Despite the fact they meet in business, they have meetings for other things. What's holding them back?
It's really interesting because a meeting for a lot of men in business is it's efficiency. Cool, we're going to get an outcome, but the time we walk out the door, we're going to have clarity, we're going to have a way forward. Yet in our relationships, we don't do this. And my personal opinion is that because a love meeting in the name implies vulnerability, it's a bit scary for a lot of men because we don't like to hear what we're not doing. We don't like to hear how we're not showing up.
Yep.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable to be able to sit in a space of not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Because in business and in our careers, like, we know what to do. We're proficient, we're experts, and then we come home and we just have no success. That's what a lot of men struggle with. They have all this success in business, but to come home and like take that success into their family, it's really, really challenging. If you're successful in your business, but your marriage is falling apart, then that's a massive red flag. Because what's the point of having a business or making money if you lose everything in that fucking process? You buy the house, you buy the car, you buy the things. You're going through a divorce right now. You bought your dream home, you separate it, right? So what does success even mean if you can't bring that success into home life? But a lot of men struggle because they're experts in their careers. They know what to do. They crush it. They come home. They're like, well, now what? Arguments, stress, anxiety, pressure. We talked about this in the previous podcast. So this love meeting is a framework we teach all of our clients. And today I want you to write a lot of notes and get clarity on these things. Now, there are 5 areas in a relationship that must be present for the relationship to continue effectively, right? The first one is love. Okay, you both need to be feeling loved. Now, 2 episodes ago, if you want to go back and listen to it after you've listened to this, we talked about the love languages, right? Acts of service, words of affirmation. What are they saying? Gifts,
Quality time,
and sex. No, I mean physical touch. Physical touch, right? So those are ways you can communicate. And we talked about communication in the last episode. Those are the 5 key areas you can give love, right? So either you're not feeling those things or your partner's not feeling those things. So love. The second one is understanding, right? If you don't feel understood by your wife for all the hard work you do, then you're screwed, right? And if she doesn't feel understood for how hard it is to be a mother and manage the house, then you're fucked, right? The third area is respect, right? Are you feeling respected? As a man, this is the thing we lack a lot of the time. We're like, you don't respect me, woman. Back in the day, it would be a backhand and like, get in line. We can't do that anymore, which I agree with. I don't think you should hit women, right? But it was a very different dynamic 50 years ago. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying it was different. So respect on both sides. Third one is support. Do you feel supported by your wife? Is she looking after the house or is it a mess? Does she feel supported by you or do you just judge her? The fourth one is appreciation. How many times have you done something for your wife or your partner and not felt appreciated? And you think it's a one-way street, huh? Like Rosie cooks and cleans every day. If I don't show her appreciation, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And the final one, I've lost track of them all. We've got love, understanding, support, appreciation, and respect. Support. That's the one I missed, right? Support. Like, are you feeling supported by each other? So which one of these do you think lacks most in a relationship? We've got love, support, appreciation, understanding, and respect. Which one are we lacking the most, do you reckon?
If I was to say which one I think we're lacking the most, I think, oh man, I think,
all of them, all of the above.
They kind of flow on into each other. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when I look at these key areas, if they're lacking, it's like we're siloed, we're on our own, and we're not on the same team.
Yep.
So I really find it challenging to pick one.
They all lack, they all lack, don't they?
Yeah.
Because if your relationship is breaking down, you can be damn sure that one of you is not feeling loved, if not both. But why are you not feeling loved? Because you don't feel like they understand you and they don't feel like you understand them. That's what a lack of understanding is. It's a two-way street. So because you don't understand each other, you don't respect each other's worldviews, and you don't appreciate how difficult it is to do what both of you are doing.
Yeah.
And because you're lacking respect, understanding, and appreciation, you don't want to support them because you're angry and resentful towards them. So all of these things are connected, right? In a relationship, you need to have love, appreciation, understanding, support, and respect. If you're lacking one of those things, it's like a crack. You know, when those chains, like there's a chain and the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So all of these things need to be in place, right? So first things first, this love meeting is intended to give you clarity on which one of these areas is the weak link in your chain. If you think about your relationship like a chain, let's talk about bondage right now. We're getting dirty, right? I've never tried it, but each to their own, But if you think about it, like your relationship is this chain with 5 links, the love meeting is intended to give you clarity, to put it in front of you how that chain is doing. You can change chain to anything, right? It could be the foundation of your home. If there's cracks in the foundation, it fails. So a love meeting is designed to give you clarity on that. And the first step to doing this love meeting is you've got to make the time.
Yeah.
If you want a better relationship, you've got to make the time. You've got to sit down and go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm busy. I've got work. I've got business. I got kids. I got stress. Despite all the shit I have going on in my life, successful man, I'm going to make time for my relationship. That is very hard for men to do. But the reason we call it a love meeting is because you schedule it in just like a meeting. Yeah. If there's a meeting that can make you an extra $100,000, this meeting could save you millions of dollars because it saves your marriage or relationship. So step number 1, what you want to do is you want to set aside at least 30 minutes to be present and undisturbed with your significant other. Now, if you're going through a divorce or separation, this is a little bit harder, but you can use it in the future. So at least 30 minutes away from the kids, away from work, away from technology, away from the TV, where you can be present with each other. A great way to do this is either to go on a date, so go to lunch, breakfast, dinner, hire a babysitter, or go out into nature. Go for a walk, do something physical together, and then have the meeting. You do not want to do this when you're both emotionally upset or angry. That is the first step, right? Why do you think that is, Sam? Why would we not have this meeting when we're emotional or angry?
Well, because it's going to be, number one, very hard to hear each other authentically, but it's also probably going to be really challenging to even switch off from, let's have a love meeting, at the kitchen table while the kids are like running havoc. It's not going to work. Practically, it's not going to work. Like I would even say, I said to one of our clients the other day, when you go and have your love meeting, take your partner out of the normal environment. Go somewhere different where you can just be present together, like create presence in that moment.
I love
Otherwise,
that.
you cheapen the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So make a decision today that you're going to spend time with your significant other, partner, or wife. Set aside 30 minutes, put it in your calendar, be present with no distractions, and ask them if that's okay with them. Don't just say, we're going to do this meeting. Say, hey, is it okay if we have like a catch up, or is it okay if we have something called a love meeting? I listened to this podcast with this super attractive Italian guy and then this Croatian sensation with the line on his shirt. And they said we should have a love meeting. And your wife's going to go like, what the fuck is that? Maybe she won't say that. Like my wife, when I met her, wouldn't swear. She used to say fudge. I've corrupted the shit out of her. She says fuck more than I do now, man. It is disturbing. I love her, but it's disturbing. But anyway, so you say, look, do you mind if we have a love meeting? Like, let's go out for lunch. And I've got like a set of questions I want to ask you. So pre-frame it. Don't just throw it at them. And if they're resistant to it, maybe it's not the right time. Okay?
Yeah.
Second thing is when you're both calm and patient is you want to look in each other's eyes and you want to ask a series of frameworked questions. Okay. Frameworked means that there's always the same frame. There's a picture frame, right? Everything within that frame exists within that frame. Everything outside of that frame is not in that frame. Does that make any sense? Right. So when you have a picture frame, it frames the picture. That's all you see. We're going to do that with these questions. Okay. So we talked about those areas of relationship needs. The first question you simply ask is, are you feeling loved? Sam, are you feeling loved?
You know, I actually am feeling loved. I haven't been able to say that for a long time, but I am feeling loved.
I love you, man. I do. I really do. You've been with me for 5 years. Not like that, guys. Not like that. With me in the business. Hey, legend, if you're getting value from this podcast, then you're going to love our Empowered Man 7-Day Challenge. Inside, we've taken some of the best content our clients invest thousands of dollars for to change their lives, and we've given it to you in the course of 7 days. This challenge is worth over $3,000, and you can get it for $37, 97% off. Inside, we'll teach you how to fix your marriage and relationships and reconnect with your partner, your kids, your wife. We will teach you how to take back your time, how to take back your power, get into powerful routines, and how to take control of your life, take control of your mind, take control of your business, take control of your health, take control of your wealth. Sounds too good to be true, but there's a complete money back guarantee. So if you're enjoying this podcast, go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge. It's going to be in the call notes as well, and you'll be able to register for this challenge that will completely change your life. So are you feeling loved? Now, if your partner says yes or no, those are two directions we can go in. But what's a third answer they could give us?
I don't know.
Exactly. If you've never had a conversation like this, and you're like, fuck, this Toni guy's onto it. Maybe he's onto something. Maybe I'll try this. And you say, are you feeling loved? And your partner's like, I don't know. Does that mean there's something wrong with them? No. It simply means they're not aware. They haven't had this conversation yet.
Yeah.
So what's another question we could ask to find out if they're feeling loved? Put you on the spot there.
You did.
What do I do to make you feel loved?
Yeah. What do I do? I remember, can I share a really quick story?
Of course you can. It can be a long story.
I remember in marriage counseling, when we went through it, our counselor said, let's not talk about that. What does the other person do to make you feel unloved? Oh, that was confronting.
The floodgates have opened.
Yeah.
It's a really good question though, because like I'm going to give you the simple version of the love meeting, but this is just a framework. We can go outside the frame. It's a great question. So what do I do to make you feel loved? Well, when you do this, when you do that. But what do I do to make you feel unloved? It's just as powerful. Because it makes you face the ugly truth. As Admiral Jim Stockdale said, and quote from Good to Great, right? You must face the brutal facts of reality. And just because your partner hasn't told you all the shit you're doing wrong doesn't mean it's not present.
Yeah.
It's like when a wife says to you, I don't love you anymore. That was going on for like 3 months. You just weren't aware of it, right? So to keep it simple, great question. Are you feeling loved? And then how can I make you feel more loved?
Yeah.
Now, what's the problem with make you feel? We teach this in the program. What's the problem with making someone feel something?
Well, you can't make anyone feel anything.
Let's say that again. Please say it a few more times because I need this to land.
You cannot make anyone feel anything.
And they cannot make you feel anything.
That's right.
Now, how many men are going to hear that and go, what? Talking about?
It's that moment for so many men where they're like, no, yeah, but when she does this, she makes me feel unloved. No.
Yeah. This is why it's a problem, is because when you say that, you give all your power away.
Yes.
And maybe you don't say that as a man. Maybe your wife or partner says it. Maybe your kids say it. Oh, daddy, you made me feel upset. It's so important to nip that in the bud. Now with children, it's easier. You cannot tell your partner this. What I'm about to tell you, I fucking do not repeat it out loud, ever. If your partner says, you made me feel this, you do not say, I can't make you feel anything. Because they're not at the emotional awareness level yet to understand what you just said. But the reason this is true is because you got to understand, in a relationship, when you're communicating, there is no puppet master in your head. If your wife yells at you or says something that triggers you, that's on her. She created that. But the way you respond with your thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions is completely on you. As a man, there is no one in your head pulling the strings, making you feel anything. It is your choice. Now, does that choice sometimes happen subconsciously? Do you sometimes get angry when you shouldn't? Do you sometimes do something you regret? Yes. But no one made you do that. You had a default response in a split second, just like when you fall over and catch yourself. Your body went into like this fight or flight mode, and you responded, but they didn't make you feel anything. And as soon as you say, you made me angry, you made me upset, you're giving them the power. Yeah. The only person who controls your thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions is you. So no one can make you feel anything. A more powerful question to ask your partner: are you feeling loved? No. How can I make you feel more loved? It's a shitty question. One thing Rosie said to me a few months ago, quite a while ago, said, don't make me feel anything. Show me you love me. Ooh. So how can I make you feel more supported? We just had our daughter. I felt like she was just freaking out. She couldn't handle it. I'm like, you're making my life harder. And I'm like, how can I make you feel more supported? And she said, don't make me feel anything. Show me you understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
That's huge.
Wow. So the next logical question for me was, how can I show you more understanding? And the world opened up for us. So simplifying this for anyone listening, the first step: are you feeling loved? Are you feeling understood? Are you feeling supported? Are you feeling appreciated? Are you feeling respected? Let me repeat those one more time. Write this down if you're listening. Are you feeling loved? Are you feeling understood? Are you feeling supported? Are you feeling appreciated? Are you feeling respected? You want to ask your partner these things. And once they've answered and given you all of their answers, it's going to be your turn right at the end of this, once we get through all the questions. Now, if they say no, or I don't know to any of those things, the next question is going to be, how can I show you more love? How can I show you more understanding? How can I show you more support? How can I show you, more appreciation? How can I show you more respect? So in Rosie's case, we had our love meeting a few months ago. I said, are you feeling supported? Kind of. Great. Good answer. That really helps me support you. So I didn't say that. I said, look, fair enough. Like, how can I show you more support? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, what makes you feel supported? And I'm like, when I take Talia upstairs and bathe her, does that make you feel supported? And she said, yeah. And it also makes me feel like you understand. It shows me you understand, because you're taking her when I'm stressed and busy and I'm trying to keep up with the dishes, and you're taking her off me. I'm like, that's a really valuable piece of information. Whereas most men would be like, I've had a long day, you deal with the kids.
Yeah.
Very resentful, very like trying to balance the scales. I worked hard, so you do this. No, you work hard and come home, right? So that's the first step. How can I show you these things? Or another one is, how can I give you more of that? Or another one is, what did I do this week that showed you I understood, respected you? Do you understand the different frames? So we have, do you feel these things? How can I show you more of these things? And where have I shown you these things? There's 3 different frames. And from that, you can get so much information about your partner. Now, once you ask these questions, and let's say your partner gives you the answers of what you can do to step the fuck up and have a better relationship through this love meeting, then what do we do? Like, let's say we get the answers. What do we do now? Great. Thanks for the information.
Yeah. How often do we feel like, okay, we've had the conversation?
Yep.
That's when we start to do the work. That's when we start to put a plan in place.
Yep. But how many men just hear what their partner needs and go, cool, thanks, I'll get that done. And then they don't do it.
Yeah, they don't do it. Yeah.
What happens? They go back to being busy. Yep. The business gets
in the way. Things start to break down all the more, because now we've brought awareness. We've had the conversation. And now you've intentionally done nothing about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, we didn't know that before. Now we do. Do you know what I mean? Now we know it. Like, what's that old quote? Now that I've seen, I'm responsible. Now
Yep.
that I'm aware, I'm responsible to do something. It's on me now.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. That's very, very well said. It's a blind spot, right?
Mm,
So whether you want to make more money, have a better relationship, be a better father, if you want to be a fucking weapon of a man, you've got to find your blind spots. If
mm,
you're driving on the motorway, you turn right, your kids are in the car, a truck runs you over and everyone dies. Horrible thought, but a possibility. That's simply because you had a blind spot. And in your relationships, there are so many blind spots. Do
mm.
you really know if your partner's feeling loved, appreciated, supported, respected? Does your partner know what could make you feel those things or how she could show you those things? If the answer is no, then you have a shitload of blind spots. And then
Mm,
we wonder why we're disconnected and not having sex and not happy and not fulfilled in our relationships. It's
yeah.
because we have these blind spots.
Mm,
How do you find a blind spot? Well, you turn your shoulder, you look at a different angle. And how do you do that? You ask powerful questions, right? So
yeah.
once you've got the answer to these questions, and we're going to keep adding some more, you've got to commit to doing something about it, right? The next set of questions, once we have these 5 areas, love, understanding, support, appreciation, and respect, there's 5 questions that are very powerfully framed that you can use. The first question is this: are you feeling secure in our relationship right now? And do you have examples of why/why not? Why secure, Sam? What's the meaning of secure in a relationship? I'm going to look up the definition, but why are we asking this question?
It's the frame, isn't it? It's certainty.
Mm,
Certain security is certainty. It's like cool.
yep.
Like you look at the core needs of a relationship. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to mark this. You look at the core needs of a relationship, and the first one is certainty. We want that frame, that boundary of security, of certainty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. You show up for me. I can share with you. There's security there, and
Mm-hmm.
within that, variety, all those other elements of the relationship, we come alive. We reignite our spark. It's all good.
Yep.
But without that certainty, we're just like we're unclear, we're uncertain.
Yep.
We don't know where we stand. We don't know what we're working towards.
Yep.
Yeah.
A relationship cannot end if you have certainty for it to continue. Let me
Mm,
say that one more time. You cannot go through a divorce or separation. Your wife can't say, I don't love you anymore, if she has certainty about your future. If she can see you being happy together, if she can see you holding hands, having that spark, being intimate, understanding each other, if she can see that in her mind's eye in the future, then she will not separate. But if
mm,
she makes a conscious decision that she does not have certainty, she does not have safety, she does not have security, and that becomes a reality, that worldview, that belief system is, I cannot get this anymore in the future, then that's when divorce happens. And it's
mm,
the switch that flicks. It doesn't happen right away, but like you yell, less security. You argue, less security. You're not connected, less security. She's afraid of you. Like all these things build up,
yeah.
and that's what causes a relationship to break down. We just
Mm.
looked up the definition. Secure, certain to remain safe and unthreatened.
Wow.
Ooh, ooh. Fix or attach something firmly so that it cannot be moved or lost.
Mm,
Succeed in obtaining something, especially with difficulty. Fixed or fastened so as not to give way, become loose, or be lost. Different definitions.
mm,
Certain to remain safe and unthreatened, right? So, a very powerful question. If we repeat it one more time, write these things down. Are you feeling secure in our relationship right now? And do you have examples of why/why not? Not just a yes or no. Why/why not? So I asked Rosie this question. She says, well, kind of, but when you got upset at me the other day, I felt threatened. I did not know that.
mm,
I was not aware of that. But let's say I'm not aware of that for another 2 years. She feels way more threatened. It becomes a big problem. Okay. Second question: do you have any unresolved hurts or moments of disconnection that we should talk about? All of them.
Band-aids to rip off right now.
Yeah. I mean, so many of us as men, we have unresolved hurts. We're upset at our partner or our children or our employees, and we just expect for them to know what we're thinking. And because it's unresolved, we're carrying that emotion. If someone in your life does something to hurt you or upset you, whether it's your employee, your wife, your kids, and you don't express it calmly, patiently to get a resolution, you either blow up like a ticking time bomb or you bottle it up and it's unresolved, then that emotion, which is simply energy in motion, is stuck within you. Have
Mm,
you ever held on to something for far
mm,
too long and you feel drained and you feel tired?
Yeah.
It affects your focus at work. It affects your income. It affects everything. It even affects the way you communicate and your tonality.
Yeah.
So if there's any unresolved hurts in your relationship, you've got to find a way to communicate them without being a dick.
Mm.
And you've got to find a way to pull them out of your partner without being judgmental or condescending. It's an art, it's a skill, but once you master it, your relationships skyrocket.
Yeah.
Unresolved hurts. What does unresolved mean? Like, what are some of the unresolved hurts that a lot of guys we work with deal with and their partners deal with?
Well, when I think of unresolved hurts, it's things that have been swept under the rug for too long that they're there. We're not talking about it. We're avoiding it.
Yep.
Often it's where we haven't shown up or what we haven't done, and we've just sort of ignored for a long period of time, and it gets to the point where it's there. I kind of think of an unresolved hurt as like you're carrying this backpack. Like I lost 40 kilos. Now I lift 40 kilo dumbbells at the gym, and I'm like, oh, like I lift them
That's
up.
fucking heavy.
What it feels like, and I'm like,
yeah.
I lift it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I was carrying that for nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's like that in a relationship. It's that baggage. You're carrying that heavy weight. And as you say, it'll influence everything you do. It'll influence your conversations. It'll influence how you show up. It'll influence how you resolve other conflicts in your relationship.
Yeah.
But until you're willing to take that off, unpack it, it's unresolved. It's hidden away. We put on our smile. We're all good, tied up in a bow.
Yep.
But it's not dealt with.
I love that. Did you mark that?
That was
brilliant. Yeah, that's brilliant. Because it is like a pack. So when you unpack, I've never thought of it that way. When you unpack something, you take the pack off. And if you think of a school bag, like who fills the school bag? You do. Unless you're a kid and your mother does it for you. Like you fill your own pack. When you go to work, you take your pack. So when you unpack something, you take it out of the pack and now it's out in the fresh air. Like you can see it and now it's able to be resolved. And we both do this in relationships. The partner, us as a man, and the wife or the partner, they do it too. And it's because we've built this pattern of when we do share what's going on for us, there is judgment. So if there's judgment in your relationship, it's going to fuck things up. My wife and I, we used to argue, and we get to the point where she didn't tell me her emotions because I would try and beat them down and say, well, why don't you just be grateful? Or why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? And I would belittle her emotions, not intentionally. No one does this shit intentionally. I'm the successful guy. I try to fix everyone and everything, making lots of money, successful, great. But at the cost of my wife, because I'm trying to make her successful. She's unpacking and sharing her unresolved hurts, and I'm judging her for it, not intentionally. Now that I've fixed that, our relationship is a lot better, but it still happens from time to time. So do you have any unresolved hurts or moments of disconnection? That's another one that we should talk about. Rosie asked me this. I said, not really. Although we haven't had sex in 2 weeks, like I do feel disconnected. And she's like, fair enough. Okay. Third question. Are you happy with our expressions of physical intimacy this week? What do you want more or less of? That's a dangerous question. Well, how far can we go on this one? Why is this question important? Are you happy with our expressions of physical intimacy this week? What do you want more or less of?
Well, I mean, physical intimacy is, yes, it's sex. Of course it is. But what might come up is, when you came into the lounge the other night and you sat on the other side of the room, like I just felt very disconnected from you.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like, is it really that simple? Yeah. Connection, point of connection. And that's intimacy. It's massive.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be sex. Like intimacy is physical intimacy.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but obviously you're going through a separation right now. But when I'm with Rosie, like if we're sitting on the couch and our knees are touching, that's intimacy to me. If I've got my arm around her while we're eating, that's intimacy. If we're holding hands while walking with the pram, that's intimacy. And that intimacy is a physical connection. Now, obviously, if you're not feeling appreciated, respected, loved, understood, right, supported, then it's very hard to have that physical intimacy. So when you ask this question, it's after you've asked about unresolved hurts or security in the relationship. It's after you've asked about understanding, support, respect, etc. Right? Now, let's be honest here. if you ask your partner how you can show her more understanding, support, appreciation, respect, you ask her if she's feeling secure and why not. You ask her if there's any unresolved hurts and she shares them, and you listen. We talked about this in the previous podcast, and you hear them. And you don't just listen and hear them. You say, what I've heard you say is blah, 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 blah. What I've heard you say is this, this, and this. What do you think that's going to do to physical connection? It's going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
You can see this in action with your partner. When I'm listening to Rosie and I'm genuinely finding out how she's feeling, I can feel her easing into me.
Yeah.
We had a client who just joined our 12-month mastermind. He's done the 8-week program. He's crushed it. Won't name his name. And he's like, I did that clearing conversation you told me about that you coached on. And, you know, we haven't been intimate for like a month. And you were right. Like, she ripped into me for like ages and told me all the things I'm doing wrong. And then she started taking responsibility, and you were right. By the end of it, this is his exact words. By the end of it, she did get wet and she jumped my bones. And I'm talking to this guy. I'm like, woo! Yes, brother. Hallelujah. And he's like, yeah, I don't care how much the 12-month program is. Sign me up. It was just really cool, man. And this shit works, right? So yeah, really powerful question. Next question. 2 more to go. Are there moments this week that you turned away from vulnerability or transparency? How come, and how can we improve that? Are there moments this week that you turned away from vulnerability or transparency? So what you're saying is, are there moments where you wanted to be vulnerable and honest with me and transparent, and you didn't? And if so, what happened and how can we improve that? Yeah. So did this ever happen in your relationship? And it clearly happens to our clients that we work with. A lot of them are egotistical, successful men. If you're successful and have an ego, that can destroy you. Because if you have moments where you're upset at your partner or your employees, you want to be vulnerable about how stressed and hard things are, you want to be transparent, and you go away from that, then you're really living a lie and you're wearing a mask. And no one really knows the real you. You did a words of wisdom about this. If no one knows the real you, then how can anyone truly trust you? And if no one can truly trust you, how can you trust yourself? One of the most important things for a high performance man to do is to know when to be vulnerable and transparent.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but a leader, that's what he does. We had a client say, don't share my testimonial name because I'm a leader. People look up to me for strength. Strength is vulnerability and transparency. And if you can be a leader who knows when to turn that on, you win. So what happened in your relationship? Like, where were the moments where you turned away from vulnerability or transparency?
Where those moments kind of occurred were for us in the hustle and bustle of life, the busyness of life, where we're a bit more reactive toward each other. And someone might, one of us might have shared something that, was meaningful or that we wanted to unpack or talk about. And then the other person's reaction allowed us to build a wall up. Oh, not going to be vulnerable, not going to be transparent, not going to talk to you about that next time. I remember so many times being told, I'm just not going to share this stuff with you anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would say, I'm just not going to share this stuff with you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the point in talking about it? Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, what's a good example of this? That's like dating once and it doesn't go well. You're like, I'm never going to date again. Or like, if imagine if you got divorced, which you're going through right now, and you're like, cool, I'm never going to get married again because all women are stupid. Right? And that's the way we think, though. It's like, cool. So I've tried to be vulnerable and transparent. It hasn't worked. So I might as well never try again.
Yeah.
I've got a daughter. She's 16 months old. My daughter is talking and walking. It's fascinating. She's so intelligent. And I love like seeing how much better she is than other kids. That's it's like Rosie gives me shit about it. I'm like, my kid's the best. But I've watched her fall over time and time again. Success comes from children. If you want to be successful, look at a child. My daughter's 16 months old. She will walk along and fall hundreds of times. When she was trying to stand, she would stand, her legs would shake, she would fall. She would stand, her legs would shake, she would fall. She'd start screaming, getting angry at herself, like, why can't I walk? Then she started walking. And now she's walking and she falls over all the time. Her legs twist. Now she started running and she falls over all the time. She smacks her head on stuff, but she has not once given up. And she will fall thousands of times and she will continue until one day she can sprint. And she's going to be stable and steady. And if you can treat your relationship, your health, your wealth in the same way, you will truly be successful because you're going to fucking fail. and you're going to fuck it up and you're going to make mistakes. And it's in those moments that you build character and you learn about yourself. And if you can do that without quitting, you win. The only time you fail is when you quit. So get the fuck back up and do the shit you need to do, especially in your relationships. Very important. Are there moments this week that turned you away from vulnerability or transparency? How come, and how can we improve that? So yeah, I wanted to be honest with you about how I was feeling, and I just felt like I was going to get judged, so I didn't share that, right? Final question. In what ways can I show up for you this week that would let you know that I care? Now, every question we've asked before now has led us to this moment.
Yeah.
We've already sort of got the answer, don't we? Like if she's not feeling secure because you work too much and you don't give her any time, a way you can show up for her is by giving her more time, right? Yeah. But in what ways can I show up for you this week that would let you know that I care? What are some examples we can give the men listening that they can apply right away? What are some ways that they can show up for their partner and show them that they care?
When this conversation takes place, and if you're both answering the question authentically, we'll naturally share through the lens of our love language. So if our partner is an acts of service person, they might say, look, I would really love it if you could just show initiative. And, one thing that came up for us all the time was if you could just show initiative and just unstack the dishwasher, that would just really help me. And that would just really show me that you see what's going on here, that you support, or, could you put Luca to bed 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week? Or could we do this?
Yep.
For us, we often think things like that. No, it's more complicated than that. But it's often in the day-to-day where our partners aren't feeling like we're showing up for them.
Yep.
And we can show up everything from the acts of service right through to, can we just get out and can we just go on a date this week? Can we just get out of our natural habitat, get a babysitter, and can we just go out? That would really just give me that quality time. That would just show me that you care, that you understand all of the layers of complexity in my week, and just allow us the space to reconnect.
Yeah. And that's a really good example, is just do these little things. As men who provide for families, we think that's enough. I'm making money, I'm putting food on the table.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, that's not the way the world works anymore. You can make money and provide, but there are still other roles we get to fulfill. We get to fulfill the role of a father, being present for our children, showing up for them, supporting with them when the wife is tired, despite the fact that we think she shouldn't be. That's a bullshit story. And we get to show up for the partner by helping around the house and making things easier for them. And if they have a lighter load, even though we have a massive load on our shoulders, guess what's going to happen? They're going to support you more and appreciate you more. It's a two-way street, but the street begins with how you lead as a man. And success isn't just money. Success is how you show up. And all the identities, husband, father, business owner, they're all connected. So like you say, it is really showing you care by doing, not just talking shit. Yeah, I'll support you. You got to do the shit. You got to step up, which is hard when you're tired and burnt out. But it's actually going to energize you quite a lot. My camera's about to die, so we're going to tie this one up. Let's turn the aircon on real quick. My daughter's been playing with the aircon remote, so it is now missing. So this camera may or may not die. So let's recap everything. Okay, yeah. Step one, you want to set aside at least 30 minutes uninterrupted with your partner and ask them, say to them, is it okay if we have a love meeting? Is it okay if we catch up? I want to ask you some questions to improve our relationship. Step two, this is the sequence of questions. Write them down. You can bring them with you on a piece of paper. Are you feeling loved? Are you feeling understood? Are you feeling supported? Are you feeling appreciated? Are you feeling respected? How can I show you more love, understanding, support, appreciation, and respect? What have I done to show you more love, understanding, appreciation, support, and respect? Okay, any variation of those questions. Then we go into this. Are you feeling secure in our relationship right now? And do you have examples of why/why not? Listen, tell them what you've heard them say. I've heard you say this. Do you have any unresolved hurts or moments of disconnection that we should talk about? Listen. Are you happy with our expressions of physical intimacy this week? What do you want more or less of? Listen. Are there moments this week that turned you away from vulnerability or transparency? How come, and how can we improve that? And finally, in what ways can I show up for you this week that would let you know that I care? Now, once you've got all these answers, you're going to tell them what you're committed to. What I've heard you say is all these things. These are the 1 or 2 things I'm committed to doing next week for you and for our relationship. 1 or 2. There might be 10. Write them down. Okay. You also want to write everything down. I track all of our love meetings in Notion. You can use a pen and paper. I write down what she said, all the important points, and what I said, and what our commitments are. Okay. Once you've done that, you swap sides. They ask you the same questions. They commit to something, and then you go into your week. You schedule it in and you treat it with respect. You don't just have the conversation. You go to your calendar like you would for a meeting. You schedule in your commitments and you schedule in your next love meeting. And you do this every single week at a minimum.
Yeah.
Schedule the time, run the meeting, ask the questions, tell each other what you're committed to, write it down, and do the meeting again. And if you do this for 52 weeks in a year, what do you think is going to happen in your relationship? It's going to fucking skyrocket.
Yeah.
Right? It's a 30 minutes a week. There's 10,080 minutes in a week. You got 10,050 left. Is that a good ROI? Is that a good return on investment?
Pretty damn good.
Pretty damn good. Right? So, Sam, anything you want to add to this little spiel?
Yeah, just quickly. When we're having these conversations and asking these questions, we get to prepare ourselves that what we hear might not be what we want to hear. What will become a conversation killer is when we go in to justify every response. Oh, yeah, but I did this because. And what that does for a partner is it allows them to put their walls up. Oh, I'm just not going to talk about it. Question 4. I'm just going to move away from vulnerability and transparency. This isn't working. Listen. It's something that you said after every question, Toni. Listen. Brutal truth, but it's their truth. And you'll have the opportunity to share your truth. And you get to ask for that respect to not be interrupted as well, like we talked about in our last podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so well said. I'll add to that. If your partner says something that triggers you, there's a piece of you that knows it may or may not be true.
Yeah.
If I call you a transvestite, Sam, how do you feel?
Confused
because you're not one. I'll probably have someone clip this up and go, he's anti-trans. No, I'm not. You can be a transvestite if you want to. But if I call you something you're not, you're like, that doesn't bother me. But if I call someone who's a transvestite, they might get upset and go, what does he mean by that? It's like, I don't mean anything, right? Mm-hmm. The point is that if something triggers you, it's because part of you believes it might be true. If somebody says, oh, you're such a dick. If you know you're not a dick and you're a calm person, you'll be like, no worries. But if you're a bit of a dick, then you'll do something about it. You'll get upset, right? So if your partner says something to trigger you, instead of going, oh, no, this is why I do that, or go, cool. Wow, they said that for a reason. They must feel that way. That's their truth. How can I listen to them and step into their shoes and see myself through their lens, which is so hard to do, but so critical in a relationship. So really it is about, you're going to hear some shit you don't want to hear in this love meeting. Great. It was present before you heard it. It just wasn't in front of you. It wasn't clear. It wasn't in your awareness. Would you rather it stuck inside of them, festering like a cancer growing within? That cancer causes divorce. Would you rather cut it out, which is painful initially, but it avoids the pain of separation, separating assets, divorce, all the other crap that comes with it. They're both painful. Pick one. This is confrontational for a lot of men to do this meeting, but it is a must. It must happen. If you don't do it, you're fucking gambling. You're playing with fire, right? So if you got value from this, feel free to drop a comment down below. Give this 5 stars, a like wherever you're listening. And guys, just full disclosure, this is the type of stuff we coach on daily in the Empowered Man program. We have 5 coaches, daily support from us. You literally have access to myself and Sam in a one-on-one capacity in a coaching channel. And this is just one of the many tools we use. So if you're getting value from this and you do want to fix your marriage fast in 2023, if you want to work on your health, wealth, relationships, and have balance, then there will be some links down below where you can apply for our 7-day challenge, or you can even apply to speak with our team personally and jump on as a coaching client. So if you're interested in that, feel free to jump on. Next week's episode is going to be a banger, so make sure you're there for that. And thank you for listening to the Empowered Man podcast. See you guys next time. Hey, brother, I hope you got a ton of value from that podcast. If you would like to work with us personally and get some of the best content we've launched for our clients who have invested thousands of dollars, then go and complete our 7-day Empowered Man Challenge. This mission will completely transform your life. If it doesn't, you won't have to pay a cent. It's only $37, and it is game-changing if you want to take back control. So if you want to find balance between business, family, and life, if you want the relationship, the health, the wealth that you deserve, then go to elitebusinessman.com/challenge. That's elitebusinessman.com/challenge, and take up this challenge to take back control of your life.